Charlie Crown, my friend, welcome to Mint. Thank you for being on. How are you doing?
Doing good, Adam. Thank you for the invite. Love your
Of,
show.
of course, man. I appreciate you making the time. I caught a glimpse of your crowdfund, okay, which I did support, the Just Say It crowdfund, which we'll get into in a minute. But I tweeted on yesterday. I want to do a spontaneous episode on Thursday. And I recall you tweeting at me in the past. For whatever reason, I couldn't find that anymore. And then I saw you again and I was like, oh shit, I should bring you on because I actually really fuck with your music and doing some pretty epic stuff. So let's dive right into it. Okay. Who are you? What does the world need to know about you? But more specifically, what were you doing before crypto?
All right. Happy to be here. My name is Charlie Crown. That's my artist name. My name is Carlos. I'm from Colombia. Um, I work in music. I'm a producer, an artist, and before crypto was making music. Uh, doing the regular artist stuff. Making music, releasing it, going through all the kind of like the Web 2 stuff, including promotion, including playlist pitching, all that stuff. And then I recall finding about crypto on December 2020. Yeah. And then for me it was just a huge rabbit hole, fell into it deep, and now I'm here.
And here we are.
uh, Here we are, yeah, taking advantage of as many opportunities as I can.
So, what have you gotten involved with so far since December 2020? So, you've bought some crypto. Obviously, you have this crowdfund. What else have you done?
I've been everywhere, man. I've been trying to, turn every stone. Every time I find a new application or a new protocol, I just try to find out how it works. How can I use it for my project? I've been, dabbling on layer 2 stuff, like mint songs on Polygon.
Nice.
I remember at the very, very beginning, I was, just getting familiar with MetaMask, getting familiar with protocols like Uniswap, exchanging tokens, buying my first NFTs on OpenSea and all that stuff. And then, I started finding about Songcamp, catalog, um, communities, like music communities on Discord, and, getting involved with Cooper, Daniel Allen, Henry, like talking to
Cool.
them, tweeting at them, and trying to get my name out there and learn as much as possible.
Those three names are like reoccurring names
Yeah, for
on
sure.
Mint, which I think is actually super awesome because obviously Cooper, Daniel Allen, Henry, and the list, Silencia, the list goes on and on and on of people that are just like continuously pushing the space forward. So
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
good to see that's also rubbing off on you. Okay, I want to talk more about like you as a musician. Okay,
Right.
I've been checking out your music. I was like bumping it as I was preparing questions for this conversation. Actually, I really do enjoy your stuff. I think it's great. But my
Thank
opinion
you.
is completely irrelevant. I wanted to ask you, are you signed to a label? Like what's your structure? What's your setup? And how does that kind of translate to your experimentation in crypto?
At the moment, I'm independent. I've
Okay.
been trying to stay independent for a while now. I like record labels. I respect a bunch of them. I've worked with them in the past. I've done remixes in the past with labels like Ultra, Sony Music in the UK, DMAC. But for my singles and for my project, generally speaking, I've always tried my best to stay as independent as much as possible, and trying to keep control of my masters.
Yeah.
Of course, like giving percentages to artists, featured artists, and artists that I work with. But
Mhm.
generally speaking, I always try to stay independent as much as I can.
Got it. Got it. So, how is the independent life? It's a very general and very basic question, I know, but I ask it intentionally. And the reason I ask is because there's a ton of independent artists entering crypto, experimenting with Web3 primitives, selling NFTs, music NFTs, social tokens, etc. As an independent, how has been your journey like in crypto? What does that look like?
It's like the Wild West, really. Like it's like for the first time, I'm really experiencing what creative freedom might look like in a world where creative freedom also provides the mean to make a living with music without forcing myself to fit a certain narrative or a certain genre. And I think also being independent gives you the freedom to go at the pace that you really want to go to, because like I think in music industry, given the current climate, you are currently forced to like go at a certain speed. And I think many artists are falling into this burnout situation where you're basically forced to release music like every 3 weeks or every 4 weeks.
Hmm.
And that's become like really unsustainable. And for me at least, it hinders my creativity, where I'm kind of like falling into a trap of just making music because I need to put something out, instead of like, um, with Web3, I really can take the time to experiment and really put what I want to put out, and also like share it with my community, um, get their thoughts on what they think about the song, and kind of like really have this participative scenario where fans are not just fans, but they're also becoming more important um, parts of the project, and kind of like get them involved in some bigger decisions, like what song is next, whether they like it or not, all that stuff. So it's definitely a freedom thing for me.
Nice. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I want to talk about like as you got into crypto, okay, as you were exploring as an independent artist, getting to the trenches of crowdfunding on Mirror, going through catalog, sound, etc., seeing all these platforms, what were some of your biggest concerns getting started, if any?
Oh, I had plenty. My biggest concern, and well, my first concern was um, kind of like not having the means to pay gas fees and get involved on these platforms that I really wanted to get involved in, and not being able to, like, being priced out basically. And there's a lesson that I learned while getting involved with all these platforms, and this is a hard lesson that I learned while doing, and was the fact that I didn't take much time into building a community first, and then deploying all this stuff on Web3. So I did it all the way around. So I started messing with these platforms first without having a community to share it with in Web3. Because, and this is the hard truth that I learned while like the mirror crowdfund was already launched, was it's very, very difficult at this point in time to bring people from Web2 over to Web3. It's just uh, uh, like a huge investment in energy and time to like basically hold hands and bring people over. So immediately after I launched the Mirror crowdfund, and similar with other platforms that I've tried before, uh, it seemed like nothing was happening, because I wasn't, um, I was doing it all the other way around.
Yeah,
So
makes a lot of
yeah.
sense. Where does a lot of your energy go towards actually beyond making music? Like after the creative part comes in, you have your song, you have everything kind of laid out. Where does the rest of your energy get applied to?
Just recently, I've been trying to invest a lot of energy in community building.
Okay, what does
Um,
that mean exactly? It's a very like general word that a lot of people like to
yeah,
use.
yeah, yeah. I think it gets thrown out a lot
Yeah.
in Web3, but for me, it means making friends, connecting with people that resonate with my music, and the other way around, people
Hmm.
that inspire me. So, for example, I've been, since probably April or May, I've been really, really focused in this part of the journey, and I've been making really good friends with Excelencia, who's been in the podcast before.
Yeah.
Um, Henry and Daniel Allen, I've been talking to him a lot as well, and Cooper, he was actually the one who brought me into Web3, and actually sent me over to Catalog and sent me over to Songcamp
Nice.
and got me involved really early. So I took those lessons, and I started to not only ask questions on Discord, but also if I was able to and I knew the answer, also provide help to other people and contribute whenever I can. So I've been able to contribute to other artists' crowdfunds as well, because I think it's really important for us to build out this community in terms of like I'm not only asking for help, but I'm also being put in a position where I can help others. So I think that's really important in building these relationships. And like also attending IRL events here in Miami.
Hmm.
Just in December was Art Basel, so I took
Yeah.
the advantage and attended a bunch of NFT events and networked. And if I recognize anyone, then I would say hello. Although
Mm.
it's difficult, people usually on Twitter have their NFTs as profile pictures, so sometimes it's hard to recognize people in real
Yeah.
life.
Really quick, Charlie, this hustle mentality of attending IRL events like conferences, meetups,
Yeah.
joining Discord communities, is that same energy and that hustle mentality parallel to anything in music? Like, do you do the same thing in the music industry with like people you want to collab with? Like, how does that element of community building and getting your name out there in crypto translate to doing that in music?
It's
Is
actually
are
pretty similar.
It is similar?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
how so?
Well, for years before crypto, every March in Miami, it's the Miami Music Week. So I remember with my former manager, we don't work together anymore, but we would go out to all these events and like maybe 2 or 3 months before Miami Music Week, we would be mailing other managers, artists, record labels to get these um, guest passes or get into the guest list or get backstage, because we were really focused on attending these events during my Miami Music Week and meet maybe managers and artists and record labels that we've worked before, but it was a really good opportunity to meet in real life. So being able to attend Art Basel for NFTs and for crypto kind of like reminded me of the same vibe, just
Hmm.
people coming together with similar interests and kind of like just happy to see each other because we spend so much time online, especially, with COVID and stuff like that. So it's really nice to um, put a face to the people that you interact with
Yeah.
every day on a daily basis. So
Yeah.
it's very, very similar.
Yeah. I think what you're doing is very spot on. So this is very much like the Daniel Allen strategy too. Like you want to mint something, put a pin in that and revisit it in 3 months and make sure you get yourself involved in
Yeah.
community discords, get your name out there, because if you just put something out there, nobody knows you. How's the world going to try to buy something from you, right? And support you and collect with you and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I say this a lot also. It's like the best way to solidify relationships and make friends in crypto is okay, get on Twitter, get in these communities. But the number one thing that solidifies all that is like what you just said, attending conferences, the Ethereum conferences, the Solana conferences, the
Yeah,
local
totally.
meetups, all these things. They 100% translate into who you're building and like what you're trying to do and kind of getting your name out there and whatnot. So I think that also like explains the success for this crowdfund that you have going on. What it's called, the just say it crowdfund, right? Can
Yeah.
you tell me a little bit more about that? First of all, congratulations on that, and
Thank you.
I'll let you say the numbers and whatnot. But what is it, okay? And why is crypto like the right way to kind of bring to life whatever it is that you're trying to do with the Just Say It crowdfund?
Yeah, so just a word on what you said before, like mint something, put a pin on that and that stuff.
Yeah.
I actually did it the other way around. So I minted the stuff first, and then I was like, wow, nobody's
Mm,
contributing to this stuff. What's happening? And then like throughout the process, I discovered like, oh wow, I needed to spend more time,
mhm.
getting my name out there, building a little bit of like a group of people that know
Yeah.
me, that like
Yeah.
resonate with my stuff before going through that stuff.
Yeah.
So now the Just Say It crowdfund started, of course, inspired by what Daniel Allen did, and because the couple or maybe three conversations that I've had with Cooper about all this stuff. So what I wanted to do was kind of like get my feet wet. So I didn't want it to do something as big as what Daniel Allen did. And also I resonated with something that he said before, and it's like using Web3 to fund Web2 activities, because I like, as much as I'd like to go like crypto native and go full on Web3, the reality is I have so many like goals and dreams that still heavily rely on Web2 metrics, like streams and monthly listeners and followers and all that stuff. So what I did with the Just Say It crowdfund was I created a crowdfund to fund the release of my upcoming single, which is called Just Say It, and is featuring my friend Helen Tess. She's from Miami too. And I asked for 2.5 ETH after, like making a budget of what I usually spend on a song, um, kind of like with a Web2 strategy. So like stuff like photo shoots, stuff like PR, promotion, playlist pitching, um, ads, YouTube, all that stuff. But then I wanted to make it in a Web3 way, in the sense like, okay, maybe let's make it a crowdfund on Mirror, issue tokens to the people that back the project. And then I didn't want the token to be like a community token, because I really wanted to have like a social token, a community token, but maybe further down the line, maybe this year. So I didn't want this one specifically to be
Hmm.
the community token.
Hmm.
So I was like trying to figure out, okay, so what are people going to do with the token? So I came up with the system where the token is meant to be burnt. So what's going to happen in the crowdfund, and it's I get now I get into like the mechanics of the crowdfund, is there's going to be, at first, of course, part of the budget is going to be used to fund the release, pay for mastering, promotion, all the stuff that I talked before. And then there's going to be 3 auctions total. So the first auction is going to be the WAV file on catalog. The second auction is going to happen in Foundation, is going to be like an alteration of the artwork, but in different dimensions and animated. And the third one, it's going to be um, an auction on the Glass protocol, which is going to be the video, which
Hmm.
at first is going to be only available for token holders. So we're going to token gate, and it's going to be like an experiment we're going to run with the guys over at Glass. And then after that period, we are going to auction the video as an NFT as well. The way I designed or the way that some of the features on Mirror are designed is it made possible for me to create it in a way that when those auctions finished, I can have a percentage of those sales go directly back to the contract of the crowdfund, and without ever going through me. So I thought that was like a cool experiment to do, and a
Hmm.
cool thing to like maybe get people excited about it. So um, from those auctions, 90% of those auctions is going back to the crowdfund. And then once that ETH is in the crowdfund, people are going to be able to claim a percentage of the ETH that's in the contract by burning their tokens, and that's also one of the features that it's native to Mirror.
Got it. Got it. Actually, this is like a much more complex campaign than some of the more standard crowdfund music campaigns that we've seen out there.
Yeah,
Why did you
yeah.
decide to go down this route?
Um, I was always trying to figure out, while I was writing the crowdfund,
Uh-huh.
like how can I deliver more than what I'm asking for? Because like throughout the building process, I was always asking myself this question about community, and like who's gonna back this project. Like
Mhm.
I have like some fans and some people know me over in Web2, but who is really gonna put some ETH into this crowdfund? So
Yeah.
like I was always like in my head was like, and also like asking myself like, why am I doing this crowdfund? Is this just something that I'm doing to take advantage and make some money, or am I going to really build something that I'm proud of, and that's uh, like a representation of my passions or my creativity and like my goals here, because I think Web3, it's kind of like, as I've said before, it's kind of like the Wild West. So it's like there's so many cash grabs here and there. There's so many rug pulls here and there and stuff like that. So I wanted to like really figure out a way in which I can deliver more than what I'm asking
Yeah.
for. So I was kind of like, how can I add more stuff to it and make it more complex and make it more like entertaining and
Right.
challenging to, like build all this stuff.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how that kind of plays out down the line, because
Yeah, me too.
there's a lot of moving parts, and which makes this whole entire thing super unique and super exciting, which also is part of the reason why it caught my attention too. And
Thank you.
I'm just going through this crowdfund right now. So um what's up, guys? Adam Levy here. Sorry for the quick pause. I wanted to give some love to our two NFT sponsors that are making this episode a reality. They are Coinvise and Polygon Studios. On Coinvise, you can create a personal or community-owned social token on Ethereum or Polygon. Coinvise also helps you create incentives through token rewards and bounties, NFT business models, and bot integrations for Discord. Discover more today by visiting coinvise.co. Polygon Studios is the gaming and NFT arm of Polygon, who's focused on growing the blockchain gaming and NFT industry while bridging the gap between Web 2 and Web 3 gaming. The Polygon Studios ecosystem comprises highly loved blockchain games like OpenSea, Upshot, Avagachi, Zedrun, Skyweaver, Decentraland, and Decentral Games. If you're a gamer, builder, or NFT creator looking to join the Polygon Studios ecosystem, get started today by visiting polygonstudios.com. All right, back to the episode. I guess like when you're building the mechanics of this drop, because you have an entire list of bullet points, and I want to share my screen just so everybody that's watching on YouTube can kind of
Awesome.
see what I'm referring to really quick. Let's do this really quick, okay? Let's share my screen. So there's a lot of like bullet points here regarding the mechanics, okay? Out of everything that you listed, what do you think is the most important point, part of the mechanic that actually makes this drop unique, makes it different, and makes it eye-catching for collectors, for example?
Well, I think there's maybe a couple.
Okay.
So the first one is, of course, the two auctions that are going to happen,
Okay.
and how those, sorry, three auctions that are going to happen, um, and how they will be going automatically on chain back to the contract without
Mhm.
ever going through me, and then people being able to burn their tokens to claim um, their percentage of the ETH that's accrued in the contract.
Mhm.
And the other cool part, and this was something that I added later after I launched the crowdfund, it's um, the milestones. So I launched the crowdfund first, and then I started asking for feedback to friends and people over at Catalog, people over at Mean Songs and Excelencia,
Mhm.
a bunch of friends from Audios as well, and kind of like, um, one of them I remember recommended me kind of like to ask myself, like, how can I tie the crowdfund or the tokens to the success of the song. So
Right.
that's where, like, the idea of the milestones came to be. So like, okay, now we're attaching this crowdfund to the actual success of the song in Web 2, so like Spotify more specifically.
Right.
So I created these milestones. We have one NFT airdropped to every backer when we hit 100K on Spotify, then a second airdrop when it hits 500,000, and then the
Mm.
million. So like if we hit
Mhm.
the million, then every backer is gonna be airdrop a total of 3 NFTs if
So
we
sick.
if we make it.
Yeah. No, we will make it. We're all gonna make it. That's how we gotta
For
think
sure, for
about
sure.
it.
Yeah,
You know what
I'm
this
sure. I'm
reminds me
sure.
of? It reminds me of like the common example that people like to use when they try to explain to a normie like why NFTs are important in the context of music and fandom, for
Yeah,
example. And like the reoccurring example that I also like regurgitate is like, imagine you could prove that you were a listener to Juice World, right? And as he was kind of coming up on SoundCloud, whether you were in the first like 1,000 listeners, 50,000 listeners, 100,000
yeah,
listeners, right? And this kind of like solidifies that in a sense, in a way, right? It's not like a direct correlation. It's more so a reward of like trophies, like congrats guys, like we did it, we did this together kind of thing, which is super cool. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. That's actually like my long term vision is to create this kind of like memorable moment. And I know like it's not like a huge project or an album, which generally has more longevity, or like it
Mhm.
has like more long term kind of thing. So, but my vision long term is like with the NFTs and the POAPs that it like the backers are also gonna get for backing the project, like this sort of medal for being early supporters,
Mhm.
is exactly that what you just said, like creating this moment in time where people are gonna have this badge in their wallets that are gonna be that are gonna remember them, and I'm also gonna be reminded that they supported this project early on. So it's like a
Yeah.
badge of honor for sure.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Talk to me through kind of like breaking down expenses. As a creative, this is very like very strategic and very well done. And you know, to other people, it might seem like okay, you just broke down the expenses. But for other people that are trying to maybe replicate something similar that you did, or Silencia did, or Daniel Allen did, these things like we can't take for granted, right? So from cover art to photo shoot to lyric video animation, like how'd you know these were all like the components that you needed to raise appropriately, right?
Yeah.
And structure the crowdfund the way you did. Like, how'd you kind of walk me through your thought process of breaking that stuff down?
So my thought process was kind of like also combined with the knowledge that I already have from releasing music previously, and kind of like the teamwork we
Mhm,
usually do, which is like getting the art ready, figuring out if it's gonna be like a full on video, like with actors and actresses,
mhm,
or if it's gonna be like a lyric video, animated 3D stuff like that, and then marketing. Um, I usually spend way less from like what's in the crowdfund right now, but the core idea of the crowdfund is also to like be able to release a song like and take it to the next level, and not like do it as I usually do it, because
yeah,
usually being independent is cool, but the caveat to that is um, there's no funds, there's no investment, so you're basically just uh, investing in your music from your own pocket. So that's why usually labels come in and invest in the project and stuff like that. So my thought process, kind of like breaking down the funds, was combining what I've done before and kind of like
mhm,
seeing how I kind of take that to the next level. So maybe hiring a better PR person,
mm,
um, you know, instead of going like the stereo mastering route, maybe I can master the song by stems. Artist fees are what the songwriter and the singer, which are
uh-huh,
different, two different people, are gonna be paid as well. Even though they were like, "Oh no, don't worry, I don't need to get paid." I was like, "No, like I'm running this crowdfund, which is gonna, probably raise 10K. You're getting a cut of it for sure."
yeah,
And then just reaching out to people and getting quotes for video production, getting quotes for cover artwork, getting quotes for photo shoots and all that
mhm,
stuff. And kind of like when I did the the funds and kind of like the breakdown, I did it with ETH at like 4,200, and now it's like way less. So
interesting.
yeah, I may have to do
So did that
some adjustments there.
so
So
does that did that screw up your process at all?
um, not really, but now that I see the results, I think it might have been smart to do the use of funds section maybe denominated in ETH instead of dollars, to like keep
Interesting.
keep percentages like kind of
Yeah,
like the same,
yeah,
because
yeah,
very volatile. So
yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Well, look, regardless, it's almost at what? Almost at 9K, 2.77 ETH to date.
yeah,
Your goal was 2.5 ETH, so you have a lot to be proud about and to celebrate.
yeah,
And
of course, really
and
happy about it.
it's really exciting. And one thing I wanted to ask you, why'd you put it so that the creator doesn't retain anything?
So a lot of people have asked me that question, and usually my answer is like, I I wanted to make it clear that I was trying to build something for the people and not for me. So I was really focused on like probably like under promising and over delivering,
Uh-huh.
and also like creating something where you put in X amount of ETH, and I'm trying to basically make sure that I'm giving more than what I'm asking for. So the goal of the token is not to like for me to retain something and then get some ETH out of there and kind of like make money in that sense. But the goal of the crowdfund is to build like the foundation of the community, and I'm more focused in people becoming fans, becoming collectors, becoming like holding on to these POAPs and holding these milestones and enjoying the music like
Yeah.
on a different level than making money from the crowdfund. I would have probably kept some percentage if the goal was higher, but since the goal was really small, I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna make the maximum, like I'm gonna take the maximum advantage of this 2.5 ETH to build as much as I can until I run out of funds,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Dude, amazing. I love to see it. I'm excited to kind of follow it and to follow your progress and to see more of it come to life. And for us, all of us to who supported and back to embrace the value of the mechanics that you kind of laid out for all of us to enjoy. I want to shift the conversation a little bit
All right.
to how do you properly value a song on chain? How do you know whether a song needs to be worth point 0.1 ETH, 1 ETH, 10 ETH? How do you think about that?
Well, that's a tough question, Adam.
Yeah.
Well, I think comes down to like if I were looking at songs, let's say in catalog, and I was like kind of like browsing to see maybe what I cope or buy. I say the artist has like a lot of influence in how I value a song. So I would like to see an artist putting in the work, uh, not just in the song, but putting in the work. Like you see them working, you see them creating content, you see them getting involved, you see them kind of like valuing Web3 for what it is, and kind of like giving respect to that, and kind of like taking it serious. You don't want to like for I wouldn't want to invest in an artist that's just taking advantage of Web3 and kind of like just putting out music just because it's the perfect time to make one ETH for a song on catalog,
Yeah.
but because they really believe in this stuff, and you can really see the passion and their like their love not only for music but for technology in their eyes. So I think that's when a song for me shifts from being worth zero point 0.1 to being worth 1, when I see that I'm
Mm,
not just investing in one-off projects, but investing in the artist's career and future, because I see longevity in them.
hmm. Interesting. So that tells me that the price of a song should be determined by the collector, not by the artist, because everything that you just mentioned is kind of like how you value an artist and their craft and what they're doing with the community and everything that they've kind of
Yeah,
like
of course,
contributed.
of course.
So you think it should be more from the collector's point of view rather than the artist's point of
Yeah,
view.
I think me as an artist, the I can only control what I can control. So
Right.
for me as an artist, is like the maximum I can do is like put a price tag randomly, basically just depending on how I feel about the song, how much work did I put in, how important or how emotionally attached I am to it. And
Hmm.
also, I can add like perks and stuff. I can add
Yeah.
maybe rights, or maybe I can add like licenses for
Hmm.
stems and remixes, and maybe the artwork and maybe shows and stuff like that, and kind of like make the NFT more valuable that way.
Yeah.
And then I can randomly put a price tag on that. But at the end of the day, it's the collector that's going to say either, wow, this is just too expensive, I'm going to buy it, or wow, I'm getting this right now.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Let me ask you, what do you think the relationship between music and crypto will look like in the next few years?
I think in the next few years, it's going to become more of a hybrid in the sense like we're still gonna be dabbling in Web2 stuff. So we're still gonna be in Instagram and Spotify and Apple Music,
Hmm.
and people are gonna be able to listen to music publicly for free. But musicians are gonna have like this very closed group of super fans that become collectors, and hopefully more than that, become investors and start earning from master royalties and streaming platforms as
Yeah.
well as artists. And I think also artists are gonna become more and more independent, and maybe also like a hybrid there in terms of like artists are gonna be able to decide what services they need or they don't from record labels, and be able to negotiate from that, because with Web3, maybe you don't need the advance anymore. Maybe you just need like
Hmm.
infrastructure, or you
Yeah.
need certain services that labels
Sure.
provide. But maybe you don't need to give 80% anymore of your masters. Maybe you can retain control of them, and then maybe have different deals. But I think for musicians and for music industry, the landscape looks pretty independent, and looks at a scenario where us artists are taking back control.
So do you think the market will favor more independent artists than those who have record labels and already set off and well off and whatnot?
um I think it's gonna be a hard battle, because labels have deep pockets, but fan base and super fans and collectors are gonna be able to provide that for their artists.
Hmm.
So I think, um, I'm not sure if one or the other is gonna win, but I think Web3 is definitely gonna level out the battlefield for
Cool.
us.
I love it. My last question for you, Kay. For those who want to kind of replicate and follow your footsteps on what you've done since 2020, any tips from them? Any words of encouragement? Anything that you'd like to share that you kind of learned along the way that would make them skip some steps, et
Of
cetera, et
course, of
cetera?
course.
Yeah.
I'd say the most important thing is just do. Just jump in and do. I spent a lot of weeks or even months reading a lot of stuff from the Crypt and the Defiant and all this stuff, listening to Bankless and good podcasts out there like
Hmm.
yours. But
Thank you.
you're welcome. But um, I learned the most when I was, making mistakes, when I was getting failed transactions on Etherscan, when I was signing up to protocols, when I was connecting my wallet to certain things, buying NFTs, selling stuff. So I would say like just do, sign up to all these platforms, sign up to Catalog, sign up to Sound XYZ, sign up
Mhm.
to Mint Songs, maybe create your first editions on Mint Songs, and kind of like get a hold of like the whole mechanics. And the one thing and the one mistake that I did at first was not getting involved first before creating all this stuff. So of course my advice here is like get involved, get on Twitter, get on conversations, answer questions, ask questions, follow people of influence that, depending on your niche, follow people that talk about those topics that you like, and get on discords, get involved in communities and create relationships, send DMs to people, connect on a personal level, share, give feedback, and kind of like build relationships, because at the end of the day people like to help people they know. So I think it's very very good that you get out there and build these relationships and kind of like meet people, even if you don't do anything. It's just really cool to build kind of like a very close friendship circle of
Yeah,
people, like
sure.
like-minded people that inspire each other and motivate each other, and kind of like creates this positive like never-ending circle where you're just basically feeding each other and kind of like making each other better. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool
I
too.
love it, dude. Charlie Crown, thank you, man. I appreciate you being on. Good luck with the crowdfund and
Thanks, Adam.
closing that off.
I
I hope
appreciate
more
it.
money comes in. Good luck with everything that you're trying to do. We should do this again in the next few months and do like a catch up, a recap of what
For sure.
happened.
I would love to. I would love to. I'm always
Sounds
open to
good,
come
man.
in your podcast. I love it. Thanks for inviting me, and it was a really, really fun time. Thank you so
You
much.
got it. Of course.